Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is a critical survival skill that I think that we should all get back into. And this is something that we've talked about before, okay? But first, do you remember, or really, how could you forget, the great toilet paper shortage of 2020, the madness that we all went through? Even if you were fortunate enough to have enough on hand, you probably either knew someone or you heard the horror stories of people desperate to find toilet paper. Then bread making supplies, flour, yeast, they vanished, snatched up by consumers who saw the writing on the wall, or either they already knew how to bake bread from scratch, or they decided they wanted to learn. But wait, you say, I see the connection with the bread making, but what does toilet paper have to do from cooking from scratch? Well, I'm glad you asked. So, I want you to take a look at your pantry right now, okay? Put your head back on that swivel. How many items are convenience items? How many? Now imagine those items are toilet paper. What happens if you can no longer find those products? What if the soup aisle is empty? The sauce and the gravy aisles are ghost towns. Suppose that you can't purchase a box of macaroni and cheese, hamburger helper, your artisan bread, biscuits, frozen pizza. Can you cook if the convenience foods that you rely on are not available at the store? If not, I urge you to learn to cook from scratch. It's one of the most important survival skills that you can have. If you can't cook from scratch, you're going to scramble to feed yourself. But perhaps you think it's just one more fear monger, right? That's fair enough. But let's talk about the facts, okay? The supply chain for goods and services isn't something that we typically think much about in our daily lives, although it's changing. We go to the store, we purchase our fresh produce, our bread, our meat, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, right? Whatever our heart desires. If we can't find it at one store, we go to another. Now, every once in a while, there's a good sale. Products might be sold out, but we expect that with a sale, right? Clearance, whatever. And we know that by the next time we shop, it's going to be restocked. That's normal. But our supply chain is fragile. We saw that. At its best, it's a finely tuned instrument. Yet, if even one element breaks down, its effect ripples out. If multiple elements fail simultaneously, consecutively, the impact multiplies. Some already understand this. Many are beginning to understand it. So let's talk about some of those elements. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. At least until we are all vying for that last pack of toilet paper. With only one whiff of a rumor about a shortage, self-preservation kicks in. Right? Now, sometimes the concern is legitimate. If a hurricane is in the forecast, you rise to the top of your vehicle's tank and your generator, right? So, other times, fear is a shortage creates the shortage. For a multitude of reasons. Some people decided to hoard the toilet paper, God only knows why. that answer I don't think will ever come about. Word spread, pictures of empty and almost empty shelves circulated. Then other people feared that they would not be able to get toilet paper when they needed it, so they began to buy additional packages as well. We saw the videos and the pictures. It's horrifying. This cascade continued until shelves everywhere were picked clean and stores had to introduce limits. The Vanishing Act spread to napkins, tissue, baby wipes, and other product that might do the job. Now here's another similar scenario that happened with bread. This cascaded into flour and yeast, and if you were already prepping, this was likely of less immediate concern to you. Others, though, scrambled to fill a gaping hole that just opened at their feet. Basically, our economy relies on the ability to get goods where they are needed, when they are needed, and in the quantities in which they are needed. Stores don't keep huge stocks on hand. They keep only what they believe they will sell until the next shipment arrives. It's a remarkable system, really. However, what makes it remarkable also makes it vulnerable, and recent events provide plenty of evidence of this. Toilet paper, for example. Increased demand meant that the supply evaporated before the next shipment arrived, and because people snatched it up the second that it made an appearance on the shelves, there appeared to be a shortage. Same with the bread example. Larger than normal numbers of people were buying larger than normal quantities of bread, and then flour, and then yeast, etc., 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 resulting in shortages because products always sold out before the next shipment arrived. But if you had supplies and could cook from scratch, you had bread. Now maybe you're thinking they should just make more. Sounds easy, right? But many manufacturing plants produce multiple items. They can't just increase production volume the way that we increase volumes of our radios. And some plants, they produce for commercial clients, not for retail. Retooling a factory takes time and it takes money. Now here are some examples of factors impacting just-in-time shipping. Okay, driver shortages, fuel shortages, price increases, failing infrastructure, accidents, and cyber terrorism. Now, inflation is a fact of life. We all see how it whittles away at our buying power at the grocery store and everywhere else, for that matter. And the only question is, how much? Cooking from scratch gives you more options to save. One bag of flour makes far more food than just to add meat to a boxed meal. Hyperinflation, that's a bull in a china shop compared to inflation. Convenience foods are a distant memory under that scenario. Now, for most of us, it might be the most practical or important reason for cooking from scratch. Stocking up on versatile basics like rice, pasta, bouillon, canned, frozen, freeze, dried vegetables, fruit, canned chicken. It allows you to make many, many, many different types of meals. Also, just love my computer. Learn how to lengthen the shelf life of your cooking oils, all right, which are an essential part of many homemade dishes. These basic ingredients reduce your reliance on single entree meals that are typical of convenience foods, and the just add water meals. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. And they're easy on the budget too. And if you buy your annual meat supply all at once, because I know a lot of you guys do that, you have to know how to cook it all, right? So shop grocery store sales, use your coupons, and do some or all of your shopping at like dollar stores, discount stores like Aldi. Focus on buying individual ingredients with long shelf lives. In some cases, you'll want to repackage your foods for the longest possible shelf life. And not only is this a frugal way and a quick way to build your emergency food storage pantry, but it's also healthier than fast food and consuming convenience foods. So there are many perspectives on what an emergency or SHTF event looks like. For some, it's EMP knocking out tech and electricity. Others, it's disrupted or completely broken supply and distribution chains forcing them to make do or do without. For still others, it's ever increasing inflation, causing the price of store-bought convenience food to exceed their ability to pay for it. So, but whatever it looks like for you, an honest look at the fragility of our supply chain is not fear-mongering. It's reality. And it's a reality that we must stop pretending doesn't exist. In an emergency, people always outnumber the available resources. You must store basic ingredients, be able to cook with them, prep more in this case. Learn to cook from scratch so you can worry less. The plain truth is, regardless of what SHTF looks to you, learn to cook from scratch, or it's going to be a lot harder to feed yourself and others in an emergency. That's it. All right. All right, guys, I'm out here. I'll see you in the next one, okay? You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fearless.